TCS is the stock of the moment, and we now have the men of the moment with us, the CEO and the CEO, Krithivasan and NGS, are with us. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I know this is exhausting, but we are not going to stop trying. Krithi, you know, the point I wanted to ask you is, newspapers, and I mean data, are filled with GCCs doing very well. You know, global competitive centers or global captive centers. Now, why is it that, you know, the IT industry is going through this kind of drag? Is it that the GCCs are taking away business?
No, not at all. Like, if you look at our own business and how much did we lose to the GCCs, it's probably very, very marginal. I would almost say from our perspective, it's almost zero. And we have always coexisted, whether you call them captives before, GCCs now. We have coexisted, we have worked with them, and we have very strong relationship with many of the GCCs because some of the large clients have the GCCs here, and we work with them very well. I don't think they have taken away any part of our pie so far.
Let me persist, and I would request both NGS and Krithi to, you know, give your reactions to this. The GCCs that are lately opened, NatWest Bank, I mean, many of them are BFSI.
NatWest Bank is not a recent GCC. They have been there in India for almost 15 years.
I agree.
You call them captive before GCC, now it doesn't change.
Yes, but the extent of banking companies, banking and finance wanting to do that has already or could likely increase because of data privacy requirements. So can you face more challenge? After all, you're going to offer on-the-shelf products, and they will choose from 100 products.
I'll probably put it in this perspective, that there is an overall IT spend.
Yes.
Within the IT spend, what they outsource is a pie. Within what is outsourced, what is offshored to India. If you look at it, right? The overall IT spend, there is a growth, 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever it is year on year. What is outsourced and what is offshored is at a faster pace than what the increase that happens in the overall IT spend, right? So as a company, what we need to do is, we need to look at not what they do in-house, right? Whether it is a GCC or whether it is at their high-cost locations. We need to focus on what is their budget that they are earmarked for outsourcing, and within that outsourced budget, how do we maximize our opportunities?
So the demands of privacy are not going to eat into your...
I don't believe so. I think, you know, we are all complying with all the regulations. In fact, some of the customers, they tell us that, look, you are better equipped to service me in certain markets because I'm not present there. Okay. And you have complying with all the local regulations and so on and so on. Okay. So we are actually better positioned to service them in some of these markets.
The assessment from the market was that the numbers and the commentary has worsened in the current quarter versus the prior quarter. And you're shying away from calling out any sort of a recovery in the second half. You're sounding far more uncertain, the management as a whole.
See, we tell you as we see. Okay, and what we question is about has it improved in the last from Q4 to Q1? Our position is like you saw, our TCV is continued strong. But we do see that our volume growth in terms of revenue and it's persisting in variety. So it's too early to call, and also we don't know when the macro uncertainties will subside. And if somebody tells us that, okay, it will subside by next quarter, we will say then from then on there will be more optimism. Like till we have enough data, how can we tell you that it's going to be better now?
So there is no change in the corporate behavior. As in, for instance, if last quarter, in March, April, you had 7 projects being put on hold, valued at X amount. What has that number become 8 projects valued at 120 now, which has been put on hold, or has that number become less? Are you at least having conversations with clients who are saying that, look, we want to spend, just want to understand the change that's taken place in the last 3 months about the near term?
But that's what I'm saying. We've been explaining this since yesterday. We're having a lot of conversations. And clients want to do a lot of interesting work. But they're also reassessing the investment they did about a year or so ago to see whether that's yielding the results or are they yielding immediate results. So they should be putting them on a pause. But if you look at, we have not called out any major project cancellations. Right, our release 1 was delivered. should I go for release 2 or should I focus on something else? If release 2 had continued, then that kind of ramp down would not have happened in those programs. So, and also you look at, like, we are talking about normal growth would be about 3-4%, and so this is a kind of even pause, right? Like, it's about a 2-3% of the projects getting paused would come to this. So it's not we are in a panic situation or anything, but we'll get to know more details as we go along.
But will they negotiate for lower bills?
We have not had any such negotiations.
Sporadically?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask, actually, again, both of you, why don't you all get into foundational proprietary AI? I can't remember who said it, but you know, even with a $10 million investment, it is possible to challenge. And wasn't it the Abu Dhabi center which did a Falcon 40B? I mean, foundational proprietary AI. You're not thinking of getting into that? I mean, you're not being bold enough to do that.
Like, see what all these generative AI and LLMs, they're fairly high cost investments for a long period of time. And to say
Money is
that,
not your problem.
I'm sorry?
Money is not your problem.
I'll tell my boss as well. But see, essentially it takes quite a bit of time. And I think where we are good at is using foundational technologies to the business context. That's where we are working on. Like, we called out yesterday also the amount of patents we have in artificial intelligence, number of people working on. And our strength comes in taking our domain capability, contextual knowledge, and marrying it to the foundational capability and delivering solutions to our customers. And that's where our focus would be. That's our sweet spot.
NGS, you don't
if I can
have
add
different
there, I
view.
think, you know, if you take Ignio, right? Ignio came out of about 7-8 years of research, and it's one of the leading artificial intelligence products as we speak, whether it is AI ops or cloud ops. Now, significant investments are going in Ignio to see how we can embrace the predictive capability even better than what it has, which is ultimately, you know, generative AI is nothing but, you know, it has to be meaningful to be predictive. And our focus is clearly about, you know, can I predict, you know, those parameters which are going to be very crucial for our clients, right? If you take I was giving an example of a shipping client, right? If I can predict based on their past patterns and the other market information using generative AI, the price of container, let's say 3 quarters down the line, I think that would be a significant value to them. So our focus is really
I'm
building.
not denying that you can use foundational AI created by others to service. I'm not denying that. I just
And, you know, that has to go a lot more, you know, because the data and the training that it has done using whatever they have had access to from North America or elsewhere is going to be significantly different from the data that as it applies to emerging markets or like India, you know. So those kind of training, etc., we have to do. I think the large language models is a phenomenal innovation, no doubt about it. It offers tremendous potential, and I think we'll be there.
Yes.
So do you think generative AI, large language models, can it be as disruptive as the past tech waves we've seen, Y2K, remote infra management, digital cloud? Do you think generative AI can be called like them?
Different aspects. See, generative AI can help you in getting. What is it good at? It's very good at analysis, and it's very good at generating responses. So, if you have to analyze a large volume of data and summarize it and respond in a contextual way, personalized way, it's very good at. So, in that sense, it can extend the power of computing, as we know today, to a great extent, and extend to new areas which we have not explored. And another, since its generative capability is very good in, let's say, people talk a lot about code generation. So areas where it can, if you give a context, it can auto-generate code. But of course, it has to be validated. It can generate test cases. So many areas it can disrupt. But I don't expect this to be saying people come up with doomsday scenario, no programming would be required, no tech force would be required.
I was asking, can it be as large a tech wave as, say, digital cloud?
This is because what we have seen in the past, every time there is a new tech wave, it actually increases the volume of work that we are able to accomplish. And when you have increased the volume of work, it automatically needs more tech force. what is the capability that you required in the past may be different from the capability that we require today, but I think our tech force is very capable of adapting.
We read the chairman's speech and he argued very much that at the AGM. But Kirti, what is the sense you are getting from clients now? The postponement or deferment or rethink that you saw in the past couple of quarters, is it turning at all? Are you getting a sense that this quarter more of your deals will get into execution than last quarter?
I'll happy to say yes, Latha, but I would not do it. I would want to hold it for at least a quarter before I can say that things are turning around.
What are your banking clients telling you now? Because BFSI revenues have fallen quarter on quarter. Year on year, it's hardly a 3% growth. What are they telling you?
See, like in banking, if you look at, like there are multiple sub-verticals we work on. If you look at consumer banking, that's doing good. Even this quarter, though we don't publish, consumer banking has done well. But capital markets, because of the uncertainty, we have issue there. I explained yesterday also. Each sub-vertical has its own characteristics. There are some places where they want to conserve costs, some places where they want to invest more. Like as I said, lending business, they want to invest more. There's a lot of work that goes on in lending. So differs from each sub-vertical, but overall long-term definitely investments are going on. In fact, banking BFSI had one of the largest order books this quarter also. So quite positive on the long term, but it's not a massive cost cut, right? We are talking about a small amount, but they are trying to readjust their portfolio in the short run.
Some minor
You
cost
have to invest more as well before you apply this generative AI to newer projects. So will that be an impact on margins?
I don't think so. I think the investments and then are all committed. Research and innovation work that's going on. At least about 400 to 500 scientists are working on AI. And as Krithi said, we have built a good patent portfolio, and products and platforms have already embraced some of this. So I think that will continue. But I think the caution that we see from the customer's perspective is, let me put it this way, right? It's not that they have not managed the recessions before, right? They have seen recessions. But then look at what's happening. While it is a recessionary trend, unemployment is at an all-time low,
yes, right?
So, these kind of situations has never been modeled before, right? So there is a sensitivity around, why is this happening and what is this happening?
Business cycles and recessions have been modeled. They have been modeled by economists, which is what I'm trying to push you a little more on that. See, the regional banking problem tended to be a very small one finally. And in fact, clients moved to the bigger guys who probably are your clients. That's why I want to ask you again, why don't you have the confidence to say that the worst of the deferment is behind?
I would just go back to what NGO just now mentioned. We are in a situation where the governments want to slow down the economy.
Yes, of course.
Right? As a government, and they are not be able to achieve it. So there is a fear of impending slowdown. It is not because there is a recession they are stopping. There is a fear of impending recession. That is what is causing this uncertainty. Once they know, there is not going to be a recession, or there is going to be a recession by this quarter, they will be able to plan for it. Today, they know the governments are pushing for a slowdown, and they don't know when it is not happening, right? Like you said, the job market is still hard. So they don't know where it will end, and that's where the caution comes in.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We are being warned, we are out of time. Thank you very much, Krithi and NGS, for sparing more time with us, and all the very best. Let me hope that you will be next time bold enough to say, this is it. Execution is picking up.
I hope so.
Well, that's it from the TCS Top Brass. Back to you.